Hi, I'm Ben, and I am really excited to share with you the small verse with a big impact today. It comes out of Psalm 126, verses 5 and 6, and it reads, "Those who sow in tears shall reap with joyful shouting. He who goes to and fro weeping, carrying his bag of seed, shall indeed come again with a shout of joy, bringing his sheaves with him." A couple of reasons I love this verse. The first is there's no required religious overtones to this. It's just a fact. It's an observational fact out of human nature. And it because of that it makes it universal to anyone who goes through these experiences. And how could it not be true? So just looking at it again, what it's talking about is those who sow in tears. And of course, sowing and reaping are agricultural terms that perhaps we lost sight of, but sowing is just getting out and planting the seeds. And then, of course, reaping is the harvest and what you bring in. And so there's this a human universal. At some point, you will be laid out in life. I've been just flat laid out by life um, a number of times. And largely, I mean, we've kind of come to call this depression. And there's certainly situational depression where something bad happens, divorce, death, illness. There's seasonal depression. Where I'm at, it has rained for 4 days straight right now, and so everything's dark and cloudy and wet and miserable, and that causes depression. There's of course chemical depression as well that puts you down, and I'm not a therapist or a doctor, and so certainly those professionals have their way, and those are uh, important. Not knocking any of that, but even with any of medications or therapy or any of that, the answer is still the same, and that's keep moving and spreading seeds. And the reason for that is when depression comes, it lays you out. Um, it takes all your motivation. It traps you in yourself, in your own concerns. And what this verse shows us, and we already know it, you already see this, it's logically, it makes sense that when you don't want to, and you have good reason for not wanting to, you're ranging from unmotivated to in desperate and despondent grief. All of the impetus, all of the drive is removed, and then there's this external pressure that just keeps you down. The tears, your eyes are so filled with tears you can't see where you're spreading that seed of potential. And if you give in to that, then that's it. That's all she wrote. If you lose a job and you stay in bed and that's all you do, then that's it. There can't be any future joy. You have locked yourself in, or you have become locked into that pattern. If you are in a bad marriage or going through a divorce and you just stop, then that's it. There can be nothing better, and that is a decision that has been made, that you have quit, and you're never going to want to get out and cast seeds. And if you'll stay with me to the end, we'll talk about a couple of seeds you can do at any point in your life. Um, and there's always going to be a million excuses why you can't, and it's always going to be easier to do something else. Um, but universally, if you stop, that's it. How could there be anything past that? And so what this verse tells us is, look, if when you're there, you can get out and you can plant some seeds, then in time, as that season passes, you will then have something to reap, something to gain. And so then perhaps you say, well, I don't I don't have I'm so far down that I don't even have any seeds. I can't even get any seeds, metaphorically speaking. I don't have any good to put out there. Um, and fair enough. Sometimes life gets that low, and that's what it seems like. Then I'm going to give you 5 things that, without excuse, anyone can do. And you start there, and you start there and carry through that even though you don't feel like it. And you might say, well, but there's no guarantee that you're going to commit. And maybe not. But there's an absolute guarantee that if you stop, you're stuck there forever. And this applies not just if you're going through depression now, but if you have friends. I don't mind telling you, 4 or 5 years ago now, life just laid me out. And it was bad. And for me, not only was I didn't feel capable of planting good seeds, I was actually out planting bad seeds. And fortunately for me, I had a very good friend who came in, drug me out, and no, we're not doing this. And so the picture as it would fit into the metaphor of this story is he literally grabbed my bag of seeds, put it on my neck, got underneath me, and carried me forward, saying, hey, drop a seed here. Hey, drop a seed here. Hey, drop a seed here. So if you're dealing with people in this situation and you really care about that person, here is the only answer out of that. Now, it might be mixed with other answers. Perhaps you need medication. Perhaps you need therapy. But those are only things that get you to the point where you can plant your seeds. At some point, healthy, you move forward into another season where you can reap what's coming out. So it goes on to say, he who goes to and fro weeping while carrying his bag of seed shall indeed, for sure, come back with joy, reaping at the harvest. Bringing in the sheaves that from what he had planted. So, all right, I'm going to assume the worst. And the pattern that I'm going to give here, I'm going to give you 5 seeds. Anybody can work on, everybody has access to. And you want to plant those seeds to the extent that you are able. But I'm going to break them down to 15 minutes in a day. And everybody's got 15 minutes in their day. Particularly if you're laid out, just take 15 minutes and do stuff. You can go right back to bed. You can go right back to drinking. You can go right back to crying. You can go right back to whatever you're doing, but take 15 minutes out of the day. You can even break them up into smaller sections. But I'm going to talk from the bare minimum at 15 minutes. If you don't even have 15 minutes, then take each one of these segments I'm about to give you and break it down into 1 minute, break it down into 30 seconds, whatever you have. And at minimum, do that. If you're any of these areas you have access to more seeds or bigger seeds or higher value seeds, then meet that as we go forward. But here are the 5 seeds everybody has access to. First, your body. We all have one, and to some varying degrees, assuming you're relatively healthy and whatever it is that has just laid you out, take care of your body. 3 minutes a day. 3 minutes a day. Do push-ups if you can. Do heel taps, lay flat on your back, and just lift your legs up and down. Stretch. Go for a walk. Whatever you are capable of doing it, move for 3 minutes. And as you're doing that, you will grow. If you do something for 3 minutes every day, you will grow in that, and you can expand that. But if you're at the very, very bottom, put the potato chips down, stop gaming, whatever you're doing, for 3 minutes, work on your physical body. If you can't even do that, brush your teeth, comb your hair, force a smile in the mirror. Baseline, that's a seed. Plant the seed, 3-minute seed, into your physical body. Start there. 2, mental. We all have a mind. And it needs to be engaged and working. Easiest thing you can do as far as planting mental seeds, pick up a book and read for 3 minutes. That's it. If you can't read, if you don't like reading, even from your bed, get on your phone, find an audiobook. Find a free audiobook. If you can't do that, then stop the silly cat videos or the depressing music on YouTube and find an educational blurb on anything and do that 3 minutes a day. Every day, be learning something. You're planting a seed that can grow, that will grow. Third thing, all of us have relationships. You know someone. I think one of the most damaging things about depression is that you get isolated and you don't smile. So nobody smiles at you. And if you live in a world where nobody smiles at you, of course that's depressing. So it just creates this feedback loop that gets bigger and bigger and bigger as we go. So, a couple of seed ideas. One, if you are blessed to have family, call them 3 minutes a day. Send out a text. And here's the trick. As much as you can manage it, talk about them. Celebrate them. Ask them what they're doing. And put thought and effort into that relationship. And, if you have many people in your family, then just put that out there. Maybe you don't. Pick a friend. If you don't have family and you don't have friends, you need to start building family and friends. And you do that by think of somebody you kind of like. Think of somebody you kind of like. Text them, call them, email them. If you can't manage to do any of that, sit down with a notebook, paper, pen, or pencil. Sit down and write a letter to them whether you send it or not. And if you don't even know what to say, just say, well, here's why I like this person. And if you can't even get there, here's why this person is interesting to me. And just keep doing that and keep doing that until you can get to a point where you can reach out. At the baseline, maybe you're at a point where what's got you laid out is you were in the hospital bed. Here's the seed. No matter how bad you hurt, no matter what arena you are in, smile. Smile with your mouth, smile with your eyes. At everyone who comes into your room, everyone who passes your room, smile and say hi. Just do that. If you're able to go for a walk, just go for a walk and just smile. And maybe you just are at a point where you just freaking hate people. I get that too. And you just can't even bring yourself to smile. Find a dog, find a cat, and pet them. You have to reach out and connect to someone, to something, to get that back. Smile. Fourth one, possessions. Now, depending on where you are in life, you may have a budget. Look at your bank account. Maybe that's a source of your depression. Just spend 3 minutes thinking, what do I need to do to improve this? Maybe spend 3 minutes thinking about your job if you still have a job. If you don't have a job, maybe spend 3 minutes with a piece of notebook paper or the app on your phone. Just find jobs I could do. And start. Maybe they're ridiculous, but just start thinking about those things. Spend 3 minutes thinking about that. If you're not at a job or you're retired or maybe you're broke and you don't feel like you have anything, clean up the area that you're in. Jordan Peterson has gotten real popular saying clean your room. Yeah, if you've got a room, clean it. If you've got a bed, make it. If all you have is the clothes that you have on, brush them off. Start planting a seed of responsibility with what you have. Even to the point where if you are homeless and on the street, take a moment, find a mirror where you can see your reflection, and tidy yourself up. So all the way from being able to do that, if even to the baseline of you don't have any of those things, then just finger brush your teeth. Start taking care of something that you have. No matter how ridiculous it is, spend 3 minutes a day thinking about that. Right now we are up to 12 minutes, and that leaves us with the last little seed I'm going to give you, and that's going to be spiritual. and perhaps I lose quite a few people there. I'm not necessarily talking about religion, not even necessarily talking about faith. Bear with me for just a moment. If you have a stated religion, spend 3 minutes in that stated religion, reading your religious book, praying to your God, um, talking with somebody about that, because that's the framework. And regardless of where it is, evaluate. Here's a question I'll give you. Do my actions, do my life look like I really believe this? Just ask yourself that. Spend 3 minutes a day thinking about that. If other thoughts come in, just push those aside. Think about, does my life match what I say that I believe? And if you're not religious, it doesn't matter. You're still spiritual. And you're spiritual in the fact that there is something that pulls your whole life together. There's a framework of beliefs that you have that you might not call a God or supernatural or whatever. There maybe it's family, maybe it's work ethic, maybe it's whatever it is. Spend some time thinking, why do I do the things that I do? And when I do the things that I do I believe that those are good for me, or do I believe that those are bad for me? Why? And when you get to the why, you keep going higher up there. That is a spiritual exercise. It takes place in your mind, but it's not mental. It's something outside of your mental. It is the framework within which you live your life. Spend 3 minutes a day reading, thinking, evaluate why you do the things that you do, and if the things that you are doing are serving the purpose you want them to. And aim as high as you can in that. And if you're going along the way, if you're one of those that doesn't have a stated religion and you don't have a community to match, then start being vocal about that and thinking about why do I do the things that I do? And surely there's somebody else that's moved by the same reasons, and start seeking that. And you might find that, hey, the way that I view life fits in with this religious sect or that religious sect. And if so, then run with that until you have problems and ask that and search that out. Because if you do not have a spiritual outlook, a purposeful outlook on life, you will always end up back here laid out. So, physical, mental, relational, possessions, financial if you will, and spiritual. If you will plant those 5 seeds, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, if that's all you can muster a day, and continue planting those while you weep, while you cry. I'm not saying don't be sad. I'm not saying don't be hurt. I'm not saying don't be withdrawn. I'm saying at some point, every single day, even if you do it weeping, even if you do it complaining, even if you have no desire to do it at all, get out and do it. Plant those seeds so that when the season changes, you can reap something. Now, I will also encourage you, be a friend. If you have a friend that's laid out, understand it's the seeds. Maybe you can plant some seeds for them. Maybe, like my friend, you can go and pick them up and walk them along, saying, no, you're going to plant a seed here. No, you're going to plant a seed here. No, you're going to plant a seed here. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. And if you're laid out and you don't have that kind of a friend, find one and tell them, hey, I'm going to complain. I'm weeping. I'm so exhausted that I can't move forward. I give you permission to step into my life and help me plant these seeds. And if you will do that, universal, I believe it's 100%. If you will do that, starting with these 5 seeds at the simplest level you can manage, again and again and again, you will reap abundantly. And you'll be able to pass that on to somebody else.